Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Wars Headlines here at Laughing Place. I'm Rebekah Mosley, the co-founder of the website laughingplace.com, and with me is our editorial director of all things Star Wars here at Laughing Place, Mike Celestino. Hey, Mike.
Hi, good to see you. We haven't done this in a long time.
Yeah, no, it's been a few weeks. During that time, you got to do some traveling. I got to do
Yeah.
some traveling. I was down in Orlando for a couple of weeks doing all kinds of Disney and Universal fun stuff and enjoying the warmth. It is not warm back here, although I'm sure East Coasters would laugh at my uh, Northern California. It's 58 degrees out, and I'm cold mentality.
Right.
So yeah. but yeah, there's been so much going on in the world of Star Wars. So I guess we're just gonna jump right in. We've got a couple of Disney Plus programs to talk about, some book announcements, as well as some recent comic book, and Mike's gonna be opening a few toys too. So
Yeah.
we've got lots going on here, and I guess we'll start off with the book announcement that happened just last week.
Yeah, this was pretty exciting. One of them in particular, I'm super psyched about, and I know other people are really excited about the others as well. But yeah, the big one for me is this one called what was it? I missed the title there. Legacy of the Sith. Is that what it was? Um,
Shadow of the Sith.
Shadow of the Sith, right. So this is about Luke and Lando going on their adventure looking for Exegol, which they talked about in The Rise of Skywalker. Kind of Lando told the other characters that he spent some time with Luke in the interim between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, that they hung out a little bit and went on this adventure. So now we get to see or read about that actually happening. So I'm super excited for that novel. It's written by Adam Christopher, and then there's a couple others that take place in the prequel era. One's
We've
called
got
yeah,
Brotherhood that's during the Clone Wars era. We've got one that's a middle age, like aimed at the younger uh, age group, called Stories of the Jedi and Sith, which sounds like it's more of an anthology with
yeah.
various authors.
They've been doing a lot of those, and they must be selling well because they keep announcing more of those. That we had the Life Day one. There was the couple that were like horror themed,
Hmm.
myths and legends, those kind of things. So yeah, we're getting the Stories of the Jedi and the Sith. It's going to be middle grade
And then I'm
anthology, and
looking forward to this young adult title called Padawan that's going to focus on Obi-Wan's days with Qui-Gon
yeah.
Jinn. I think that's a fun era to discover more about. So I have to admit, I'm looking. That was the one that jumped out to me, even though it is a young adult title, because within this world of Star Wars, those have been quite enlightening regarding just kind of canon and various elements of story, even though they are, maybe a little less mature in storytelling.
Yeah, the Clone Wars one, I have this weird thing where I start to get hesitant for them to add more content in certain places, and like it seems like so much has already happened in that era between episodes 2 and 3, because you had the whole TV series and then other books and comics and stuff. So I don't know, it seems like is it is it believable at a certain point that this much stuff has happened between those two movies? But there was a line, I think, in Revenge of the Sith where um Obi-Wan's talking about that business on Cato Nemoidia or whatever. So apparently this is covering that. Finally, we're getting the answer to what that little adventure was.
Do you enjoy that we're getting the exploration of those throwaway lines? Because sometimes I feel like for example with Lost, right?
Yeah.
Lost, you had these mysteries, and then when they finally had that episode Beyond the Sea where they addressed, you were kind of like, I wish they would have left the mysteries a bit more mystery.
Right, because your brain is always making up something that's probably
Right?
more interesting than what they eventually do. Well, I got frustrated that they never did the bounty hunter they ran into on Ord Mantell in the current canon, because they had the comics that were running between A New Hope and Empire, and I was like, okay, well, they're going to eventually get to this the only event that they mentioned in Empire Strikes Back that was supposed to happen between the two movies, and then they just skipped right over it. I was like, well, why? You had the opportunity. But yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe it is best left up to the imagination. I don't know.
Yeah, so I always find that a hard element of the universe of Star Wars.
Well, with the Luke and Lando one, I am looking forward to it because I feel like there is so much that we don't know about what Luke, well, both those characters really were up to between those two movies. We've had a few stories here and there with both Luke and Lando between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, but I like that they're gonna start, or at least it feels like they're gonna start filling in those gaps. You know, we got the rise of Kylo Ren, so that helped out with that part of the history. And then there was a book called Last Shot that was about Han and Lando kind of earlier on in the timeline.
Mhm.
But now putting those two characters together, you know, Luke and Lando, you don't think of them as characters that hang out together a lot.
Right.
I feel like they barely knew each other in Return of the Jedi, or even, you know, they meet at the very end of Empire. So it's an interesting pairing.
And I'm eager to learn more about the situation that Lando discussed briefly in this most recent trilogy, where he speaks of a child that is, you know, taken from him or somehow
Right.
gone from him.
And
And
it's kind of like implied. I don't know. I have a lot of problems with The Rise of Skywalker. It's kind of implied that the character Janna might be Lando's
it's
daughter.
yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like, does he see his child in her, or are we meant to think that he wonders if this is? Yeah, it's one of those storylines that we never had. I wish we would have had better resolution. Yay or nay? Does he
Right.
see his Does he see his child in her, or is this his child? Yes,
Right.
I agree, but it was left up to us. Um, Also, within the world of Star Wars, we had something totally different pop up on Disney Plus, and that is Star Wars Visions. This isn't really something we've seen before beyond like artistry, like collectible items, as far as letting Lucasfilm's product be revisioned in this way, right, Mike? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often that people are allowed to play around in this universe and not have it tie into the canon. I think that's the big kind of exciting thing about it to me, is that these anime studios from Japan were allowed to create these short films, and they didn't, none of them really connected to the canon. Although there is one called the Tatooine Rhapsody that could theoretically be in the current canon. All the other ones, they're all about different planets we've never heard of, different characters we've never heard of, and they just use kind of the iconography of Star
Mhm.
Wars. You got lightsabers and spaceships and droids and stuff like that, but they don't really tie into the stories that we know and love. And I think that's a good thing, that they're allowed to kind of have this freedom and just kind of have it be exciting and visual and interesting to look at, basically. And it's really, you know, they're all really atmospheric and just very pretty, I
Now,
thought.
are you someone who was familiar with these studios' work previous to Star Wars Visions? Because I'll admit, I have not. I was terrorized by the form of anime in The Last Unicorn when I was a little kid, and so I haven't really journeyed much into anime. All the in later years.
I can't say that I know much about anime. I have to say I'm ashamed that I never really got into it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ashamed,
I
but
was going to say, but that's another neat element of this whole series, is that these studios are now being discovered through Star Wars by people who may not have otherwise, you know, kind of dabbled in that entertainment art form. So you know, there's certain of these. For me, I saw that you've ranked them in your
yeah,
reviews, and I'm trying to remember which one you had at the top of
it
your
was that one, the one that you just passed.
this
If you
one.
go back up, this is a really terrible screenshot, but that's the one that they sent out to
Okay.
represent. It's called the Ninth Jedi, and that to me was like far and away the best
And
of all of them. And if they had to expand, if they had to make a sequel to any of them, that would be the one I would vote for in a heartbeat, because it really feels like it also kind of, if you were to say like, okay, this takes place thousands of years after the original trilogy, that would totally work as well. Because it's in the distant future when all the Jedi have basically been forgotten, but all these force sensitive characters get called to this one location where this guy is trying to bring the Jedi Order back, and he's got this saber smith working for him. This guy's building lightsaber. He's going to distribute them to all these force users, and then there's some intrigue, and some characters turn out to be aligned with a different side than we thought. But it was just so well thought out, and it really, really felt like Star Wars. Like, you could have made this the new Star Wars movie that takes place thousands of years in the future from what we saw, and I think it would have turned out great if it was done by the right person, obviously. But really, really well made, and other ones are really good too. Obviously, they had this book. Actually, I've got it right here. Star Wars Ronin, a Visions novel. This is an expansion of the first short called The Duel.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was interesting too. And it's taking that short film and expanding it into its own mythology. So it still doesn't connect to the main Star Wars canon, but it is like creating its own chronology and its own timeline. It doesn't even connect to any of the other Visions shorts. So it's kind of interesting that each little seed that's planted by this TV series can kind of bloom into its own thing, which is, it's kind of a really neat idea. And it reminded me a little bit of What If, the Marvel series that's been on Disney Plus, except that ended up tying into the main canon of the MCU a bit. So I guess kind of different, because I don't think these will ever cross over with the main Star Wars canon.
I will say that throughout these Star Wars Visions, I very much have enjoyed the droids, the way droids are used within the storytelling. That one, the duel, the droid plays a key role in that story, and many of the other ones. But the one that has proven to be my favorite that so far is Toby, which I know is not, which is like lower in your ranking, but I found it a delightful creation. I enjoyed the way that it kind of was storytelling about the Jedi and the Force, and how the Force is in all, and connecting with that, and just overall it was very light and adorable. And so it was, I very much connected with that particular episode of Visions. The one with the twins I found really compelling, but I think the best for me, and what you're saying as far as like a continuing saga, is the ninth. That one really, really caught my attention and felt the most Star Wars, as Kyle points out. It's neat. It's a fun time to be a Star Wars fan, to be someone who enjoys stories of the Force and the Jedi and lightsabers and all that. And they were heavily featured in these, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that was, if you read all my reviews, because I went, well, first of all, they sent us screeners about a week or two before the series was released. I went through the whole thing. I like binged it all at once. And my initial response was like, this is really cool, but why are these all about lightsabers? Like every single one of them, except for Tatooine Rhapsody, which actually like got bumped up on my list a bit because it was so unique. It was stood out because it was so different from all the others. It was about like a rock band performing for Jabba the Hutt, Tatooine. I was like, okay, this one isn't just about a lightsaber duel. I don't know, but at the same time, I think what happened was they picked all these anime studios and they just said, do whatever you want. And the first thing people think of when they think of Star Wars is lightsabers. So they all went and did the same thing. I almost think like it might have turned out a little bit more varied in the storytelling approach if they had given them a little prompt. Like, okay, you got bounty hunters, you got the military side of Star Wars. Like, give them all one little different aspect of Star Wars to tackle. Droids, you know, we got the one about the droids, so that was a little different too, like you said, TOB1. But yeah, overall, I think it was definitely a worthwhile experiment. I would like to see them do more of this, and it definitely proves that you can tell stories in Star Wars that don't have to be part of that main timeline, the main chronology, and you can keep that canon going as well. You can do everything. It doesn't, you know, you don't have to restrict yourself. And I hope that they learn that lesson from. I hope it got a good response enough for them to pursue more stuff like that.
Agreed. And as Mike was mentioning, there is an Art of Star Wars Visions book that is coming out in April of 2022. We do have a little bit of information about that over on Laughing Place.
Yeah, that'll be a worthwhile book to get as well, because if these shorts are anything, they're definitely like beautiful to look at. So to have that art, all the concept art or whatever, to have it all in a nice hardbound coffee table book, that'll be pretty cool.
And recently we also had another interpretation of the Star Wars saga, and that was by the team of that bring us Lego animated fun. We had the Terrifying Tales.
Yeah, so this is the same creative team that made the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special last year, which I was kind of lukewarm about, no pun intended. But I enjoyed this one. I thought this was really funny and fun and goofy. And it was just kind of like, what if Star Wars did Treehouse of Horror, The Simpsons annual tradition where they tell 3 stories that takes place in that universe. They're not canon. They don't have to worry about, kind of like Visions. You can play around with the characters and the universe, and it doesn't have to tie in or be important to the main canon or anything. And they're all about like weird or like darker characters like Darth Maul. There was one that's like, the third story is actually pretty interesting. It's like, what if Luke never met Obi-Wan and instead he went off and joined the Imperial Academy, and like basically like got trained by his father. And it's very fun and silly, but I thought, you know, this is kind of an interesting exercise. It is like Marvel's What If a little bit, but with more jokes and stuff.
I enjoyed this particular sequence within the Tales the most out of all of them. I've never been much of a Darth Maul, General Grievous individual, so I really zoned out.
What was the first? Now I'm trying to remember what the first one was, because it was Darth Maul and then Luke were the second and third one. What was the first one? I don't remember.
I'm gonna scan your review real quick, and
yeah, I'm totally blanking on that.
I know you mentioned it here. It is when Well,
I'll just say, like, while you're looking for that, the voice of this character Graballa the Hutt, I think is his name, is voiced by Dana Snyder, who is from the Adult Swim cartoon Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which I loved in college, and he's just hilarious. And apparently he's been doing that character a bunch on the Lego Freemaker Adventures, which I never got into, but you can watch that on Disney Plus.
The first tale was a take on the rise of Kylo Ren.
Okay, yes, right. So yeah, like I mentioned before, there's this comic book called The Rise of Kylo Ren, where you can find out how Kylo Ren got involved with Snoke and the Knights of Ren and that, and this Lego Terrifying Tales kind of did a different take on that. So they didn't really follow what Charles Soule came up with in that comic book, but there's little hints of that in there and kind of the same characters and stuff, but just a different like timeline of how that all went down. But again, this Lego canon is separate from the main timeline. So
and when I was finished viewing Lego Terrifying Tales, I checked out your review, and you highlighted in your review the moment that also stuck out the most to me in the episode, and that is the recreation of the sequence where Luke is swinging across the gap and he gets the kiss on the cheek from Leia. In this case, he gets it from Vader. And
I feel like I'm a pretty jaded comedy fan. It's tough to get me to literally laugh out loud, and that was a moment like I think my wife was in here in the office working, and I was out in the living room watching the screener of the Terrifying Tales, and I laughed so hard that she asked me what I was laughing at. But yeah, they had like Luke swinging across the Death Star chasm with Vader instead of Princess Leia, and he kisses. Vader kisses him on the cheek, and he goes, "For luck," like Leia says in the movie. It's like, okay,
I enjoyed that the most. I think that gag was my favorite. I also got a bizarre kick out of the turning Vader into some sort of animatronic barker.
Oh yeah,
when they were transforming Mustafar into some sort of entertainment venue. Yeah. And so that weirdness also brought a little giggle, but no, the kiss was quite appealing, and overall the episode was really well connected with my 12-year-old. He loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised because these types of episodes he doesn't tend to really attach to traditional TV. He's kind of that YouTube generation.
Sure.
But no, he came through the room while I was watching in preparation for today, and sat down and watched the whole thing. So
great. Yeah, I hope they do more of these. They could pick other holidays and do Star Wars Lego specials, Easter.
Yep.
I don't know, 4th of July, Thanksgiving.
Hey, we've got Life Day around the corner.
Right. They did Life Day last year.
They could bring us more Life Day. I mean, but you've got Frosty and Rudolph and all that, so you can
right.
You can expand on the Life Day fun. And finally, within the Disney Plus universe, we're going to talk a little bit about Marvel's What If.
Yeah. So I saw this on Twitter the day after this episode aired. It was the penultimate episode of What If, which is not Star Wars, but there was a sequence where Ultron, the robot, who in What If he gets all the Infinity Stones on his gauntlet, and he's basically like omnipotent. I almost said impotent. That was the wrong word.
Yeah, no, that's not quite the same.
So he's like, there's this guy, the Watcher, who's basically omniscient, right?
Sure,
I think that's the right way. Yeah, because he can watch anybody in any universe, but he's not supposed to interfere. In the comics, he always breaks that rule. I remember because I grew up reading the Fantastic Four, and this guy, the Watcher, Uatu, started off in the Fantastic Four, and he's like, it's kind of like in Star Trek, the Prime Directive. They're all supposed to go out and look around, and they're not supposed to interfere with any civilizations that don't have light speed travel or whatever. But they always end up breaking that, right? So in the comics, he's always breaking that rule. Anyway, this Ultron robot gets the Infinity Stones, and he discovers that the Watcher exists, and he's punching him and knocking him through all the different universes. And there's one like 2-second shot of him getting knocked through Mustafar from Star Wars, and I did not notice it when I watched the episode, which I really enjoyed this episode. But the next day, people were freaking out, saying, "Oh, Marvel Cinematic Universe crossed over with Star Wars." And I went and I looked, and yeah, sure enough, you can see in the very back center there on the top is Darth Vader's castle. So it is, I believe, it is supposed to be Mustafar, and Kevin Feige is an admitted Star Wars fan. So I don't think this is more meaningful than just a nice, fun little Easter egg, but a pretty good one, I have to say.
Fun. Okay, maybe I'll finally check out. No, I watched a little bit of one of the What Ifs. Maybe I'll have to check out another one. Have you been enjoying them overall?
We did like the series overall. I think some episodes are stronger than others, but yes, I think my wife and I both ended up liking it.
I know it stirred up a lot of conversation among our team and our Slack channel. So they seem to be enjoying it.
I should have done the split screen because I got Vader's castle also in the top.
Oh, there you go.
Center of my screen.
Oh, hang on. Let me. There we go. And let's see if I can get Mike. There's Mike with his castle, and here's the castle over here.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Well, speaking of toys and Star Wars, Mike has some unboxing.
Oh,
for
yeah.
today.
So I got in the mail
I'm going to make it full screen.
over the last couple of weeks. These came new toys from the Mandalorian. There's Casca Reeves, who is a Mandalorian in the show. She's played by Sasha Banks, I think. And then the droid Zero, or Q9-0, who is voiced by Richard Ayoade, a British comedian. Well, who do you think we should do first here, Rebekah?
The bug.
The droid?
The Zero. Yeah, the bug droid. Go with the bug droid.
Okay.
Fun stuff.
I should have sliced open the tape.
Nah, you don't have to do that. It's fun to watch. It's part of the fun of unboxing is watching how much you have to wrestle with the package.
So this character's appeared in a couple episodes. He was in the first season as part of the team that does that heist on the New Republic prison ship. And then he gets destroyed at the end of that episode, but his head shows up in season 2 when Din Djarin needs a translator for the frog lady. He or I think actually the frog lady hooks up the droid as a translator.
Yeah. It's the translator. I forgot.
So that's pretty cool. It's fun that they're getting to these more supporting characters in the Mandalorian to make figures of.
Wow.
There he is.
Nice weapon. Does that harness appear to come off, or is it not constructed such that it would come off? It doesn't immediately look like it's removable.
It does not look like it's removable to me.
Yeah, me either.
But I'm actually okay with that, because sometimes when they have those plastic harnesses that can be removed, it's hard to get them to be secure.
Right. Yeah. And then you're worried you'll lose it.
And next I'm doing Casca Reeves here.
Ooh, Casca Reeves. Oh man, I can't wait for Mandalorian to come back. I mean, I know we finally got one of the things that is on our list for today. Is we finally got a date for the book of Boba Fett. That's coming later this year, December 29th is going to be the premiere for that series. But I was so invested in Mando. I'm eager for the saga there to continue.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much, if any, the book of Boba Fett continues the story of the Mandalorian, or if that's just going to be its own kind of thing. Here's Casca Reeves.
Oh, that's a nice representation of Sasha.
Yeah, you know what they're doing now in the last probably decade or more is as soon as they have an actor into the studio to shoot Star Wars, they scan their face. I know, because Bill Burr was talking about that on his podcast, how they had scanned him for the action figure.
Ooh, nice rocket pack.
There's the jetpack.
Ooh, I like it. Sorry,
I forget what do they call the jetpack? I can't remember.
The Mandalorians have a special name for their jetpack?
Yeah, they say it in the series.
Okay, let me look.
Because when he goes to the armorer and she gives him the jetpack, she says, "Have you been trained in the ways of the something or other, the flying eagle or whatever?" It's not that, but it's something like that.
I like the idea of the flying eagle. Rising Phoenix.
I was close.
Oh, you were close. Wow.
I cannot get the.
Apparently, you've not been trained in the ways of the Rising Phoenix.
Get this in here.
It does not wish to be a part of.
I got it.
Oh wow!
And then she's got twin blasters and one working holster, which is interesting. So she's got two of the same blasters, but only one of them has a place to live.
And these items, these are Black Series by Hasbro.
Yes.
They retail for around $20, $19.99 specifically. You can find them at
Hasbro Pulse.
Yeah, Hasbro Pulse, and then they'll be coming to your typical toy stores later this year. Target and Best Buy, GameStop, those kinds of places will have it in about a month, I think, is the way that tends to trend. So
Hasbro Pulse is the way to go, though. I never used to pre-order any of the. I'm a big collector of these action figures. I never used to pre-order them because I would go to conventions and they would always have them there. Like the dealers would have them at the booths there. But since conventions stopped happening, I've been having to pre-order them, and I might just do this from now on because as long as you get there like the day they go on sale, you have a pretty good chance of getting them, and then Hasbro just mails them to you directly. You don't have to worry about it, and it sells for pretty much retail price.
And these are nicely articulated. They aren't, they tend to have like elbow joints and knee joints and stuff like that. So they're far more posable than some of the traditional figures over the years, these Black Series items.
Right.
So yeah, nice looking stuff. I got something new.
A holocron.
My sister knows I'm a Star Wars fan, and she's a Disney cast member, and they have this part of their shopping experience where they can buy like slightly flawed or sometimes like broken items for really, really inexpensive prices. And she saw this on the shelf and she thought of me, her Star Wars loving sister. Well, it's a Jedi holocron. And I discovered that the reason why it was on the bargain shelf is because it thinks it's a Sith holocron. I don't know. Oh, that's not the price. That's like a marketing. But I'm going to see if I can get to talk. So it's like, oops. So yeah. So my sister picked it up for me when I got it home. I got that nice surprise that it is not a Jedi holocron. It's a Sith holocron.
That's pretty fun, actually. I could see that being almost sought after. Like it's kind of like
I'm so excited.
Undercover.
Now I need to get a kyber crystal because like if you put a Jedi kyber crystal in the Sith holocron, you get a different message than if you put that Jedi crystal in a Jedi holocron. And so I'm very interested to see, which means if I do actually buy a Jedi holocron eventually, I'll get different messages, even though it'll look the same. So I never have to buy one of those really creepy Sith holocrons in my house in order to hear Sith messaging.
Can you show me where the kyber crystal goes?
Yeah, it goes in there's this element on the top that opens up like this.
Okay.
And then you insert the kyber crystal in there and then shut it down. It's on a different side than where you would squeeze it in order to turn it on.
Nifty. So, yeah. I do not own a holocron.
Like, neither did I. I'm too cheap to spend that much on it because honestly they're very plasticky. I wish it felt a bit more, considering the price point. I wish it felt a bit more solid, but it looks good from a distance. Yeah. It looks good, and it comes in this nice little package that says Black Spire Outpost. I don't know how much. Yeah. I don't know how much my sister paid for this one, but my understanding is maybe under $10. So versus I think they retail for $50. So wow. One of the fun things that cast members get to do. She also picked up a Remy in that back area too. It's for cast members only. There's like a section where they can bring family to shop for discounts, but then there's this additional section that's like deep discounts only for cast members. So
I've actually been there because my sister-in-law used to work at Animal Kingdom. So I've been to that shop, but I couldn't, like you said, I couldn't go in the back area.
Behind the curtain. It's like, oh man, I can't. But yeah, she came out. She goes, "You're a Star Wars fan." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." She goes, "I don't know if it works." I'm like, "Oh well, I'll find out. At least it's pretty to look at."
I feel like I kept almost buying a holocron after Galaxy's Edge opened, but as you know, I'm not super into the Jedi or really Force users. Like my interests in Star Wars are always of the underworld kind of people more than the Force people. But I don't know. It just never seemed worth it to me, but maybe eventually.
And while we were away they made some announcements regarding the experiences coming to the youth zones of the Disney Wish, and there's some Star Wars fun coming. I'm so excited, Mike.
I don't know much about this. I should have looked more into this before our
It's
show.
like a creature keeper kind of scenario. It's going to be an area where the young people can interact with various creatures of the Star Wars universe. You see porgs, a Dianoga. Yeah. I'm so excited. So yeah, it's going to be part of the youth zone, and they like I say, they put up a little video about it. But so when there's those open house, I know I'm going to be traveling down there to check out the Dianoga and learn more about that experience.
That thumbnail for that video was very strange because there's a Dianoga in front of those two people, but they're like staring at each other like they just fell in love. What is happening? What's the story?
Right? Yeah, no, it is. It's a very strange. It's a very strange, strange image. But let me see if I can find the clip in the video itself where they focus on the location. See, there you go. See.
Okay, so they're kind of like looking at each other like, what the heck? Okay.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Now I get a little more context to what was going on.
Lothcat or Lothcat.
I like that there's porgs because we don't actually see any porgs in Galaxy's Edge, but the other creatures, the Lothcat we have already in Galaxy's Edge, and the Dianoga, I kind of wish they had come up with some more different stuff too, but it should be cool.
And during our recent trip to Walt Disney World, I got to I dined at Space 220. And it was a neat experience. Honestly, for me, the food outshone the experience, which is not what I expected. It's a location that I would go back to primarily for the food. The experience itself was great, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think, a lot of times with that kind of thing, you sacrifice a little bit of the food experience for the show element. And in this case, I felt like I expected a little more from the show element than it gave me. Not that it was bad, but just that I personally wanted more from it. But it did make me more excited about what it will be like when we have the Star Cruiser experience, and then when we have the lounge. Does it have a name? I can't remember the name of the lounge that's coming to the Disney ship. That'll be like the hyperspace
lounge. Yeah,
hyperspace lounge. But there was a lot of excitement among the team at Laughing Place because reservations opened for the Galactic Star Cruiser. So if you haven't looked into booking that, we have information regarding that on Laughing Place. So I guess there's like different tiers available. So there were some available at one window, and then I don't understand all the different windows because I'm not booking a trip, so I didn't pay a lot of attention. But all that information is available on laughingplace.com. So yay! I guess DVC. I guess the window open for DVC members.
Right.
We have a few of those. So they were super excited. And it's something that you're hoping to visit, right, Mike? It's on your to-do list.
Yeah, I think, if the opportunity presented itself, I certainly would not turn it down. I don't know if it's going to happen or happening or what, but
very cool.
I guess we'll see.
And if you have any questions regarding booking, you can email our travel partner, MEI Travel. It's Star Cruiser at MEI-travel.com or hyphen travel.com. And they can help you through the process. A lot of times with travel agencies, when you book either a cruise or that type of vacation, the Star Cruiser being a cruise of sorts, you can end up with a little bit of additional fun. Even though there isn't an additional fee to you, travel agencies are able to sometimes, in the case of cruises, it'll be maybe a couple of onboard credits or something like that. So be sure to talk to the team over at MEI Travel about the Star Cruiser if that's in your plans. And be sure and let them know that Laughing Place sent you. We appreciate that. Let's see, Mike. I guess that brings us to a recent comic book. I know there's been several while we've been away, but really talk
we
about
didn't do
number
shows
9.
for like a month or two, so it's like there's so many this year. I was actually saying this to somebody at Disney Publishing when we had our meeting, but like if you put everything in a pile that came out from Star Wars Publishing this year, it would surpass any other year, because between everything, all the regular stuff plus the High Republic, it's just been so much, and I've been consuming all of it. But I didn't think we could go through all the comics that have come out since we last did one of these shows. But the last issue, I thought we'd just touch on this: the High Republic Adventures by Daniel Jose Older, and this is noteworthy because it's the first appearance of Maz Kanata in the High Republic. As we know, in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, Maz Kanata is like 1,000 years old, so it totally makes sense that she'd be alive 200 years before the Skywalker saga. And sure enough, in this issue, a bunch of Jedi Padawans travel to the planet Takodana, where Maz Kanata's castle is, and they help her defend against an attack by the Nihil, the villains of the High Republic. So pretty interesting to see, another familiar character pop up in this era with mostly unfamiliar characters.
I'm sorry. Let me throw up a picture real quick so people can see the panel with Maz Kanata.
Yep, there she is.
Nice to know a little bit more about her hundreds of years of history that we've only kind of scratched 10 minutes of.
I always think it's interesting when, Maz Kanata is still a fairly recently introduced character. She first showed up in The Force Awakens, which is only 6 years ago now. But then in subsequent stories that have been released, if they take place earlier in the timeline, they'll like pepper in Maz Kanata. So now if you read everything in chronological order, she kind of shows up here and there. So now she's always kind of part of that tapestry. It's kind of interesting how they do that, to me.
So I think that'll catch people up on what's been happening in the world of Star Wars. As always, you can follow Mike at Who's the Boss Pod, and he highlights the content that he provides over here at Laughing Place. Or if you bookmark laughingplace.com, all of this stuff at the bottom here, /w/tag/stars. Then you'll end up with the archive of our Star Wars content. A lot of Mike's reviews, items that we've been discussing today. You'll find it all there. And as new items pop up in the world of Star Wars and Laughing Place's reporting on it, it'll be right there on that page. So handy dandy way of keeping on top of all things Star Wars. For the world of Disney, all that entails Star Wars, Marvel, whatnot. The theme parks, lots of theme park fun. You can follow Laughing Place on Twitter and Instagram. I know Mike's been in the parks a few times. I know you just did some sort of, you went to the premiere of like a little premiere of Muppet Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, they did it was like a drive-in premiere down in Culver City, California, which is like, I don't know how to describe where there's Sony Pictures Studios is there where they shoot Jeopardy. It's like south of Hollywood, southwest of Hollywood. But it was pretty fun. They had Gonzo and Pepe the King Prawn introducing the movie, and they gave away some swag and stuff. So it's cool. I've seen it a couple times now. What'd you think of Muppets Haunted Mansion?
I enjoyed it. It's the first Muppets thing I can remember my husband watching from beginning to end, so he adored it, which was shocking to me. But he loves the mansion. That's his favorite Disney attraction. So I think because of the way it so lovingly celebrated it and poked at it, I think that's part of what brought him into it. Gideon really enjoyed it too.
That really stood out to me, how like faithful they were to the story of like the sequence of the ride. Like, okay, they like started in the stretching room, and then it went to the hallway, and then it just followed the rooms like in order. And of course,
I think we need to have a Laughing Place discusses Muppet Haunted Mansion, because a lot of our team is really passionate about Mansion and really passionate about Muppets. I think it could be a fun discussion.
Absolutely.
So yeah, maybe I'll talk everybody into that. Sorry, Mike. What you were saying something and I jumped in.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I also thought it was funny or appropriate that my favorite part of the special was the scene that took place in the big ballroom which is also my favorite part of the attraction. So it was like, okay, they nailed that, because it's like the centerpiece of the whole attraction if you go to Disneyland. And then in the special, they have this big like show-stopping musical number with a whole bunch of rare obscure Muppets that showed up, and a pretty good song that they sing. And I really like Will Arnett in the special.
Yes. I was taken aback by how long it took for Uncle Deadly to appear.
Yeah, Uncle Deadly is always underused.
Yeah, so that was surprising. I am not an enormous Pepe the Prawn fan. So let's see, what did Tony say? Almost like they were hoping for a mega success and a season. I'm not buying the. Okay, I know that you are someone who is disappointed that you don't get to experience Haunted Mansion in its traditional form on Halloween.
Yeah,
I know this to be Mike. Now, how would you feel if they brought the Muppets to the mansion? I know. Would you like choice A, choice B? Because a lot of the talk I hear is, well, Disneyland has Nightmare, maybe let's put Muppets at Walt Disney World. But no, I'm not giving you that option. I'm saying they're gonna kick out Jack and put the Muppets in. What says Mike Celestino?
Well, the thing about that would be, I like Haunted Mansion Holiday. I like it as an overlay, but I just think it's there for too long because it does cover both Halloween and Christmas. They feel like they could put it up in early September, and it goes to early January, which is how many months? October, November, December, January. 4 months out of a 12-month year is a third of the year, right? Am I doing my math right?
I'm with you. Yeah.
A third of the year it's Haunted Mansion Holiday, and then like 2 weeks around it on either side is they're installing it and removing it. So that's another month where you don't have the Haunted Mansion. But if they did Muppets Haunted Mansion for just September and October, it's only 2 months because it's not Christmas related. So yeah, I would definitely be in favor of that.
No, Mike would be on Team Muppets if it meant that he could have his mansion back for more of the year. So, breaking news. Well, as we wrap up here at Star Wars Headlines and I take us off the rails into the world of Muppets, I'll pull us back for just a little bit. Over at Disney Plus, they unveiled this collection of episodes. I think it was 7 or 8 episodes called Galaxy of Sounds. Some pretty much beautiful audio mosaic of Star Wars. So it takes you through varying scenes across all aspects. They have the 9 film. Is it 9 films now? Am I saying that correctly? 9 films.
11 films and
that's right. 11
one
films.
live action TV
and then
show.
the live action series as well. That's right. I was like, yeah, because Solo was in there as well.
Yeah, that image right there is from Solo.
And that was part of the fun I found in this, because they're like 7 to 9 minute shorts, and it's made up of numerous clips, and it just transitions from one to the other. And I found, for me, part of the fun was seeing how quickly I could place what film was being presented. And honestly, there are a couple that I don't know. I'm gonna have to go ask Mike. I'm gonna have to screen grab and ask Mike, what film is this? Because I wasn't able to place it. But yeah, lots of fun. And they remove like the score, they remove the audio, the dialogue. So it's purely the beeps and boops and thunderous noise and that kind of thing.
They removed the English dialogue, aka the basic dialogue, if you want to go with Star Wars talk. But there's I noticed that there's still like alien languages being spoken. So I guess that was the ruling on that. I don't know.
And each one has a theme. They explore the dark side. They explore droids. I think one is called Excitement or something along those lines, like an emotion. Yeah, excitement, wonder. So
basically, they're highlighting the sound design of Star Wars along with the visuals, because if they didn't put the visuals with it, it would just be a blank screen, right? So, yeah.
And I myself found that I put it on and just let it run, and I muted it, and I just enjoyed kind of stumbling upon scenes as I was coming in and out, because it's always visually beautiful. So, however you enjoy it, be sure to check that out. That's over at Disney Plus. Well, it was nice catching up, Mike. I've missed chatting Star Wars. I'll be honest.
And we're just a couple months. We got to talk about it. We're just like a couple months away from the Book of Boba Fett. I guess 2.5 months.
Yep. And then
December 29th.
And you've been continuing your Who's the Boss?
Yeah, it hasn't been as frequent lately. I like you mentioned earlier, I went on vacation and then just been very busy, and some other stuff has come up. So I have done a couple episodes in the last month. I'm actually going to be recording another one today, later on this afternoon. But I'm still trying to get through that Lucasfilm 50th anniversary retrospective. The last one we talked about, actually, Tony, who commented earlier, was on the show to talk about Walt Disney World's defunct attraction, the extraterrestrial.
He had a great
encounter.
time, by the way. I got to see Tony during my Walt Disney World vacation, and he mentioned the fun he had recording that with you. So I haven't had to listen.
Everyone I talk to says how much they enjoy me and Tony talking. So I guess we'll have to do more of that.
Yes, for sure. I'd love to see you and Tony team up on more projects. That would be a fun pairing. I would enjoy very much. So I guess let's see. Over here at Laughing Place later today, we have Disney Parks Talk Live. We'll probably be touching on some of the Walt Disney World 50th celebrations and various other theme park news. And tomorrow, Disney Trivia Live is returning to its Tuesday time slot. It hasn't been there for a little bit as there was vacationing going on. And I'll be back in the afternoon on Tuesday with Becca Burbank, bringing you Disney merchandise and talking a bit about what's been happening over at Shop Disney and at the Disney theme parks. So lots happening here at laughingplace.com. If you enjoy keeping up on Disney news and information, please subscribe to this channel. If you're having fun here, give us a like. It helps other people find us. But for now, that's it from here at Laughing Place's Star Wars Headlines, and we'll see you all real soon. Bye.